The old house stood silent, shrouded in a heavy grief. John and Mary sat in the living room, their faces etched with sadness. Their newborn daughter Sarah slept peacefully in her crib, oblivious to the weight that hung in the air. John's mother Eleanor had passed away a few weeks prior. Her absence left a gaping hole in their lives. Adding to their sorrow was the arrival of Eleanor's final wishes. It wasn't a will, but a letter, penned with a shaky hand. It instructed John to collect a rather peculiar inheritance from his great-uncle's house, a beautiful, antique rocking horse. The letter insisted that the rocking horse be kept in Sarah's room. It was a strange request, but Eleanor had always been a woman of sentiment. John drove to his great-uncle's house the next day. The house was ancient, with peeling paint and overgrown ivy. It reeked of neglect and whispered of forgotten memories. His great-uncle, a frail man with kind eyes, greeted him at the door. He led John to the attic, where the rocking horse stood, draped in a dusty white sheet. As the sheet was pulled away, John gasped. The rocking horse was magnificent. Its coat gleamed a deep mahogany, and its mane and tail were made of real horsehair. Its eyes, made of polished onyx, seemed to sparkle with an unnatural life. John couldn't shake off the feeling that the horse was watching him. John carefully loaded the rocking horse into his truck. The wood felt strangely warm beneath his touch. He tried to ignore the unsettling feeling that intensified with every passing mile. His great-uncle's parting words echoed in his ears. She loved that horse more than anything. Upon returning home, John placed the rocking horse in Sarah's nursery. Mary, initially apprehensive about the horse's imposing size, found herself drawn to its melancholic beauty. They both agreed it was a stunning piece, a perfect blend of elegance and eerie charm. As they admired the craftsmanship, John noticed a small compartment hidden beneath the saddle. Curiosity got the better of him. Inside, he found a small velvet pouch. It was heavier than he expected. He carefully opened it, revealing a fine silver ash. A chill ran down his spine. He knew somehow that these were the ashes of his grandmother Eleanor. But that wasn't all. Mixed in with her ashes were those of another. A small engraved locket lay amongst the ashes, bearing the inscription, "Thomas, forever in my heart." Thomas, his grandmother's twin brother, who had died in infancy. The discovery of the ashes shook John and Mary. It was both unsettling and oddly comforting. Eleanor was with them, in a way, watching over her granddaughter, but the presence of Thomas's ashes added another layer to the mystery. Why would their ashes be kept together in the rocking horse? What was their story? Despite their unease, John and Mary decided to keep the ashes where they were. It felt right, somehow, to honour Eleanor's wish and keep the family together. They placed the pouch back in its compartment and positioned the rocking horse beside Sarah's crib. That night, Sarah, who had been unusually fussy, fell into a deep sleep the moment she was placed near the rocking horse. Her tiny hand reached out as if grasping for something. The rocking horse stood still, yet a profound sense of peace settled over the room. It was as if an unseen presence was comforting their little girl. Over the next few days, a pattern emerged. Sarah, normally a colicky baby, would calm instantly whenever she was near the rocking horse. She would stare at it with wide, curious eyes, her little hand reaching out to touch its smooth wooden mane. John and Mary were astonished. The rocking horse, once a source of their anxiety, was now a symbol of peace and comfort for their daughter. Then the strange occurrences began. One evening, while John was reading a bedtime story to Sarah, the rocking horse began to move. It swayed gently back and forth, as if pushed by an invisible hand. There was no wind, no open window, no logical explanation. John watched, his heart pounding in his chest, as the rocking horse moved on its own. He could have sworn he heard a faint lullaby carried on the air, but dismissed it as his imagination. On another occasion, Mary walked into Sarah's room to find the rocking horse swaying rhythmically. The locket containing Thomas's name was dangling from its place beneath the saddle, swaying in time with the rocking. It was both eerie and beautiful, as if the horse itself was trying to tell them something.